Alrighty, so we're going to get started sewing our face mask, and we're going to make certain first off that our needle's in the correct position. I designed this set of instructions for people who have not ever sewn before, and so if you know more terms or you kind of get the drift of what I'm saying in other language or fancier sewing terms, that's totally fine. I'm going to refer to things as simply as possible so that people have success. Maybe they're unboxing their sewing machine for the first time ever, or just pulling something out of the attic. So I've got my needle in the far right position, the rightmost position here. It's as far to the right as it can be in alignment with the foot. And we're going to go ahead and place the material right up to the edge of the foot here, giving us about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. A seam allowance is the portion of material that's sticking out to the side of the seam that you've sewn, or what's on the inside of the garment as you sew it. And so we are going to work with that. And I've got a straight stitch here. This machine is a Brother, and it's got some straight stitch options. And my stitch length is just a general stitch length. My tension is middle of the road tension. This is pretty straightforward fabric. So we are going to pick up the small side of the mask, which is actually the inside. And again, we're working with the fabric right sides together here, so you can see the pattern is on the inside. And we're going to place that up under the foot of our machine with the curve along the edge of the foot and the needle in position. And then we're just going to sew right along the curve here, making certain that you feed the curve in like you would when you're driving. You kind of look ahead to the curve so that it kind of goes in the round. Don't worry or stress too much about sewing in the round. And again, if yours is wiggly, that's totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get started there. And so I'm not going to back stitch. The seams here will be rolled into other seams, so they don't need that extra strength we have discovered. So I'm going to go ahead and sew straight along that edge there and just keep the fabric together at the edge of the foot, making certain I go through both layers right off the edge. I'm going to go ahead and lift up my foot and raise my needle and free this from the machine. So you can see here that part is done. I'm going to trim our thread here. And we've sewn along the curve. The next part of processing this piece is going to be to roll the edges inside, and we're doing that so that the fabric doesn't fray. We're going to encase the edge inside itself by rolling once and then twice and sewing it down. The needle stays in the same position, so I'm going to go ahead and open up this piece here. Again, this is going to be the top of our mask. The flat part is the bottom. And I'm going to roll the edge in, and I'm going to finger press that. You can press it on your iron, fold and press. So I'm going to fold and press that in once, and fold and press that in a second time. And some people ask me, does the neatness of this make a difference? A little, not a ton. It's okay if it's loose at the top like this. If you got a little bit sticking out, that's absolutely fine. I've gone ahead and finger pressed this. Cotton's pretty responsive to the heat of your hands, so you can go ahead and do that. If you want to press with your iron, that's fine. And then I'm going to sew right here where the fabric connects to itself or touches itself, making that seam sturdy. Nothing is going in here. It's not a channel in any way, so it doesn't actually matter where exactly you sew it down. It's a little bit of personal preference there. I also get asked at the end how big this needs to be. As long as it's about 1/2 inch when you're done rolling it, no more than that, that's fine. Any more than that and you might accidentally not have room for as much filter. So I'm going to go ahead and place that under the foot of my machine. Again, you can go ahead and use the edge as a guide, and I'm just going to sew straight down that portion there. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side here. So I'll be removing that. I'm trying to pull the fabric quite far to the side so that those of you who need to see can see. So again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold and press with my fingers this edge in, and fold and press this edge in. So it's rolled twice inside itself. Set it here along the edge, and I'm going to sew that down. I will have another tutorial if something is wrong with your machine. If, for example, the little feet that move everything, they're called feed dogs, if they're not moving the fabric or something of that nature, we can chat about that at another time. So I'm going to free what I've made from the machine so far, and that is the inside piece, or what will be the pocket, all made. So you've got that rounded seam and these two edges rolled in on themselves. The pocket is ready to be set aside and worked with in a little while.